So, a more modern natural law approach to sexual ethics, John Finnis. He's say more modern because he's still alive. So he's a retired professor from Oxford University, famously Australian gentleman. But yeah, so he took rather than referring to Aquinas' ideas about natural law, he kind of went back to Aristotle's. So he focused more on the idea that kind of human flourishing or eudaimonia is the ultimate aim and purpose. So I always think of flourishing like, I think the example Aristotle himself uses is like a plant. So too much water and it's not going to do well, not enough water and it's not going to do well. It's finding that balance, that sort of middle ground in order to do well and to flourish. Okay, so eudaimonia, it's sometimes translated as like happiness, but it kind of just means like doing well. So, if you're a police officer and you're doing your job well, then the streets will be safe and people will feel welcomed by your presence rather than scared by it. Or like if you're a teacher and you're doing well, then your students will understand what it is that you're trying to put across and be able to communicate that to other people in the future. So yeah, for Finnis, it's not about kind of like just pleasing God necessarily, the ultimate aim, but it's our ultimate telos or purpose, but it's about just doing well, as Aristotle would have said. So, for him, in order to kind of flourish, he thinks that there are certain kind of basic goods that we as humans need or do in order to flourish and to do well in our lives. So, kind of examples of things like, reproduction, having children, gaining knowledge, having friendship. All of these things are what he calls basic goods. And those are things that we kind of like we aim for in our lives in order to flourish and to do well. So for Finnis, how does this relate to sexual ethics? Well, for him, marriage becomes a basic good because it combines two others. So it combines friendship and the unity there with reproduction. So for Finnis, marriage itself becomes a basic good as it's combining these two ideas into a new basic good. So that means we're not going to be having any premarital sex, any extramarital sex, etc., because we're going to be kind of going against this newly formed basic good of reproducing and having friendship. I mean, you could argue that polyamorous relationships meet that need, but I imagine Finnis is going to sort of say that that's not the level of kind of commitment and friendship that's there is not the same as in a monogamous relationship or marriage between two people. So no to premarital, no to extramarital, because it doesn't meet this basic good that would help humans to flourish. His ideas on homosexuality, it's a no-no from him. So for Finnis, homosexuality is in fact harmful to society, to humans, because it doesn't allow children, doesn't allow reproduction. So quite simple, really. No children created, therefore the marriage is harmful. I don't know, but I'd be interested to find out what his perspective would be on heterosexual relationships or marriages whereby people are unable or choose not to fulfill the kind of the basic good of reproduction within their marriage. I imagine if it were a choice, he'd perhaps have some objections to it, but I don't know how strongly he'd put them across, in all honesty.